December 19th, so we are getting kind of towards the end of sabbatical. And I tried to stop working on the 15th, and I did a decent job. I've had some clients reach out to me with, like, even though I said I wouldn't, but I love my clients, so I do things, but it's been really minimal. I've been doing a little bit of the Holly Jolly Design Challenge here and there and just enjoying time with family. It's really boring. I don't have much to share. So that video was actually the only one that I posted during the second half of my sabbatical. If you haven't already watched the first half of my sabbatical, I will link that video below, where I kind of talk about how the first 2 weeks I did do minimal work things for clients, but nothing to move myself ahead. And then the second half was very chill. As you can tell, I was just sitting at home by the Christmas tree. What is sabbatical? I talked about this a little bit in the first video, but a sabbatical is a period of time away from your work. And so for me, it was the second half completely signing off emails, signing off Instagram. I mean, the first half, I wasn't on any social media as well. I didn't do anything to try to move my business forward. That's kind of how I looked at it. And then obviously the second half, I didn't do anything related to business. So I did do a little bit of, I was reading a book called Designing Your Life. And so that just kind of, allowed me to think of some questions about the life path and life view and work view that I want, and making sure that my life view and my work view are corresponding. And there was a workbook that kind of went along with it, but it really wasn't working. It was just kind of visioning. And some of the big ahas, I guess, that I took away were, one, just the fact that rest is an accomplishment. I think for me, as an Enneagram 3 and someone who finds a lot of times their worth in what they accomplish, I really struggled with sabbatical because I don't like resting, and I feel like I can, when I'm checking off my to-do list, that's when I feel like I'm having a good day. And so I really struggled with just being and sitting and resting. Even when I was with my family, it was great, but I still wanted to be checking at least a couple things off my to-do list. So that was probably the biggest takeaway is the accomplishment of that resting is, and how rejuvenating it can be for your soul. The other thing that I took away is that boredom is okay. And I think I noticed this throughout the whole sabbatical. You can hear me mention it in the first part of the first video I created, but my thing is, I didn't miss Instagram a ton, but when I was bored or when my husband was, playing on his phone or whatever, my initial thing was like, I just want to scroll on Instagram. Like, I'm just bored. And so I did download some apps, like a coloring app. And first of all, those social media apps, if you guys haven't seen Social Dilemma, it was really interesting. But they're basically made to draw you in and keep you going. So choosing apps that didn't do that, like a coloring app, I had no problem signing off from it. But it was just there in case I was really, really bored. That helped a lot. But yeah, also just the fact that, we're in this world where we don't know how to just be bored. And being bored is okay because it opens up room for growth and discovery and for the Lord to speak. And I don't think I would have really realized that had I not taken a sabbatical. Then the third thing that I really was excited about is I wanted a big aha moment. And towards the end of sabbatical, I hadn't had one, and I was kind of disappointed because I was hoping the Lord would give me this big vision for my life and a grand idea for my entrepreneur business. And whether I got that or not, I'm unsure. I'm not ready to share the idea that I kind of came up with on a run, but it was really cool to just be in that silence and in that space where I was receptive. And I felt like, I came up with this idea. I was actually talking with another entrepreneur, and we kind of uncovered this idea together, and I got really pumped about it. And I was running and kind of conversing with the Lord about it, and he kind of gave me a name for it. So hopefully that becomes a thing, and I can reveal it to you guys because I'm really excited about it. And I think it could really benefit new entrepreneurs. And I think that was another thing is I love working with entrepreneurs of all types, but my heart is really for that new entrepreneur who doesn't have a huge bank account to just go spending all the things. But as a business owner, right, in order for me to grow, I have to increase my website design prices. It's just basic knowledge. So, that was kind of a cool little revelation. So
that was what is sabbatical, what I did with my sabbatical. Another question I get is, what did you do with your spare time? I ran, I ate a lot, my mom made mixed drinks, I read books. I read, like I mentioned, the other book, but I also read, what was it? Can't remember. Read a few other books. Sat. That's pretty much what I did. And then another question I received that was really interesting was, does it work for someone who isn't an entrepreneur? And my answer would be yes. So if you are someone who has a typical 9 to 5, I would really encourage you to look into a sabbatical, whether it's a 2-week or a month long. I will say, had mine just been 2 weeks, I would not have gotten nearly the same benefit, partially because I didn't take the first 2 weeks completely off, but also I feel like a lot of that growth and that boredom, like the kind of like I had all these experiences and I was frustrated, but the second 2 weeks is where I processed. So I don't think I would have necessarily processed all those things. So I would really encourage, if you can, do a month-long sabbatical. I mean, it can look like a vacation. It can look like what I did, just kind of resting and being at home. But I would say if you can get like at least 3 weeks, that would be awesome. And a lot of people think like, oh, I don't have that much time off. But I think you'd be surprised because the research has shown that people who take breaks from work, and especially prolonged breaks from work, come back more rejuvenated. And that's a lot of the things that I was reading about when I was reading about sabbatical, is how you actually come back to your boss and to your company with renewed vigor and being a more effective employee, a more efficient employee. And so if you go to your boss and present it as that, in a portfolio and whatever, like, I think maybe you could get a month off. You think you can't, but maybe you could. Maybe you have built up 2 weeks of vacation and you just ask for another week or something. So that would be, I mean, granted, it might not mean paid time. So what can you do ahead of time to make up that money if you need it, or be creative? But I would really encourage anyone that can to do that, because I think anyone can do it. And yeah. All right, not anyone. I know not everyone can, so I shouldn't say that. And then the last question I was asked was, do you think you'll make it a yearly thing? I think to some extent, yes. I would love to make it a yearly thing. I would love for it to be more vacation. I'm someone who loves to travel and experience new things, and obviously 2020 didn't allow that. So I would love for my next sabbatical to either incorporate a vacation or be a month abroad somewhere. I'm really thankful that I got to do it in 2020, especially after a really trying year in a lot of ways. And yeah, so that's kind of my recap of my entrepreneur sabbatical. If you guys have any questions, I would love to answer anything you have, and you can put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.